Okay guys, it's time for some real talk. Okay guys, I'm just kidding. I'm actually in a good mood, but today is a more serious video. I want to tell you guys all about my experience so far of being a student in the UK who has just moved from England to Germany, and I'm in a brand new flat in Germany since about 3 weeks, and I wanted to tell you guys all about my experience so far of moving from one country to another and how that all feels, the emotional roller coaster it's been so far, and also just about the practicalities of it. So if you guys are looking to move yourself, whether that be for study or work to another country, I hope this video can help you, and it's just to clear up a little bit of what you actually have to go through, the steps you have to go through if you want to move abroad. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you're new here, my name is James. It's a pleasure to meet you. Welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy my videos. My videos are all surrounding travel. I show you guys direct travel tips, new places to visit, share lots of travel inspiration with you, and yeah, it's a time to enjoy life here on my channel and find new places to visit, new places to eat, and just discover the world. And that's what I want us to do together. And I think a big part of that is also being able to move to a new place, not feeling like you're always stuck in the same place in the same country, because I don't know about you, but that's something that I've struggled with in the past few years, is having the feeling of being stuck and not being able to break out of that comfort zone. And I hope this video inspires you guys to have a bit more confidence and do something a little bit more daring, maybe that you weren't planning on doing. And yeah, maybe that's moving abroad, maybe that's something completely different, but I hope this video helps you guys to figure that out and gives you that confidence needed, because it really is worth taking that step. I had so much anxiety before actually moving here and coming into this new flat in Germany, but you know what, we're going to get onto that, and I think it's going to show that it has been worth it so far. Obviously I don't know what the future holds, but I really hope that it all pays off in the end. So let's get going and let's talk a little bit about how you actually move from England to another country, or specifically to Germany for this video. Okay, so first of all, I wanted to talk about the things that you actually need to do before you move to another country, or in this specific example for me, before I moved from England and actually came into this new flat in Germany. So first of all, you need to think about what way you're going. Are you a student looking to study abroad, or are you looking for a job? And I'm gonna be honest with you guys right now and tell you that finding a uni place abroad, or specifically in Germany, is so much easier than finding a work experience or a job. And for me, I managed to get a uni place through my uni in the UK, which has facilitated me to come abroad, and that made life so much easier. Yes, it was still stressful. Yes, it was still complicated, and at times I felt like I wanted to pull my hair out, I tell you guys. But in the end of the day, it did work out, and I managed to get that uni place here in Germany. And once you have that uni place, actually as a student from the UK, if you're from the EU, you don't need a visa to move into another country in the EU. But because the UK, because England is no longer in the EU, you will need a visa. But if you're going to study, you don't need to get that visa until you're actually in Germany, and you can get that within 3 months of being in Germany. You just need to go to your local authorities here in Germany and apply for that visa. And let's talk a little bit about the other big option here in the room, which is working abroad. And I was originally looking for a work placement abroad, and it was really hard because at the time I didn't have the right documentation. If you want to work abroad, first of all, you need to get a job, and then you need to get a visa. And it's really important to note that that visa has to be valid before you come into the country. So at the border control, you show that visa so that you actually have the permissions to work here. So it is a little bit more difficult, and I think that is the biggest difficulty about finding a job abroad, is actually finding a job, because once you've got the job, it makes life a lot easier. And then you need to find somewhere to live, and I was so lucky to find the apartment that I found, but I did come here for a few days a few months ago and had a apartment hunt, and that was really stressful. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. So finding an apartment, especially if you live abroad, is difficult, but my number one tip for you guys is, if you're looking to find an apartment abroad, is actually to go to that country for a few days and get on the apartment search, speak to the landlords and explain your situation, because some of them do have understanding for it and will actually help you along. And then third of all things you need to do before you actually go, obviously you need to book your transportation from your home country to the country you're moving to, but also you need to make sure that all your health insurance documents are sorted out. And what you need to do is actually make sure you've got this GHIC card if you're from the UK, which is provided by the UK government, and it gives you health insurance in Europe. So it's really important, as you don't want to have any accidents when you actually arrive at the country. So let's move on now and talk about actually once you've moved to the country, what's different. Especially here in Germany, I want to talk more about big adjustments that I've had to make as an English person moving to Germany. So let's talk a little bit more about that now. So I wanted to go on and speak a little bit about something which has surprised me the most since I've moved abroad. And that is actually something that I really wasn't expecting, because I've been to Germany quite a few times before, and I often feel like people on the streets aren't that friendly. But something that surprised me the most is actually how many people have been really nice and really friendly and really sort of just open-hearted, so to say. And I've been in a few times when I've been traveling somewhere, I've been in the train, and people have just started speaking to me, and they've been really friendly, they've been really nice, they've been really helpful, they've assisted me, they've just been really lovely. I've of course come across people as well who just aren't in a good mood, but you get that everywhere. But I really feel like that's a difference of something that I've experienced here compared to in England. I don't really feel like in England people start really talking to strangers, and that's something that I've completely had a shift in perspective on since I've moved here. So I really do think what I can take from this, and what maybe you guys can take from this as well, is that moving abroad can open up new possibilities, and it can really widen your perspectives. And that's why I would encourage you guys to take on an experience like this, because you do only live once, and therefore it is really nice to, you know, get out of your comfort zone and really experience new things too. Okay, so we're going to move on to some things that I prefer here in Germany over England, and things that I don't like as much. So let's get down to the deets. Okay, so the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's get started with the good and everything that I prefer, or at least find nice here in Germany in comparison to England. And the first of these is the so-called Deutschland ticket, which costs 49 euros. I think it's either 49 or 50 euros a month. And basically with this Deutschland ticket, you can travel anywhere you want with the regional trains, buses, S-Bahn, U-Bahn. So basically any regional and local transports. You can't take the express high-speed long distance trains with it, but you can basically travel wherever you want for 50 euros in the month. And that is such great value. Like, I couldn't imagine having that in England. And I just think that's incredible. I've got one of those for this month, and it's really been possible to go to lots of new places, see lots of new things, which I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise, because the train fares would have been way too expensive. So that's one of the things I absolutely love about Germany, at least in the moment, with the current Deutschland ticket. And the second one is the diversity of the culture and people. I feel like Germany is such a diverse country, and you meet so many different people from different backgrounds, and I absolutely love that. And I feel like I'm a very open person, so I love getting to know people from all different cultures. It's really interesting to me, and I really feel like that is something that I find really inspiring here, and I do feel like it is more multicultural than, for example, in England. So I really do love that about here. And then the third one is just the country has so many different sides in terms of landscape and in terms of like nature and everything. For example, where I am, I'm in Nordrhein-Westfalen, so I'm in the west of Germany, and here it's mainly cities, but you also have the Rhine and you also have the Mosel, which isn't too far away, and they're beautiful rivers, and the landscapes along these rivers are so stunning. And then across on the other side of the country you've got mountains, and also in the north of the country in Hamburg you've got the harbour Tower, you've got the sea. It's just so beautiful. The country is so beautiful. And I know England is also a beautiful country. I cannot stress enough how beautiful England is. And in the past years, I've really got to know England better. And London is such a beautiful city and it's so modern. And then you can also go to the coast in England. I absolutely love all these things about England, but it's just so nice to see a new place and get to know a new country and the nature. And then moving on to something I also find really good just from a personal perspective is the wide range of cuisines and also the fact that there's so much vegan food available here. It's been so easy. I almost think it's just, I mean, it's not more difficult, but it's potentially easier or just as easy as in England to be vegan here in Germany. In the supermarkets, there's so much choice, and also when you go out to eat, it's really not that difficult as well. So it's time to move on to the potential bad and ugly of things that I don't find so great here in comparison to being in England. Okay, so moving on to the things I think could be better or be improved is not to say that these are ugly, because I don't think anything here is particularly that bad, and I'm really grateful to be able to have this lifestyle both in England and in Germany where, you know, things, you know, you're just able to live like a normal happy life, and I really am grateful for that and be able to go and study and everything. So I'm really grateful to have this opportunity. But the first thing I do not particularly like is if you go into the town centre of any city, especially in this region, it can often feel a bit grotty and there's lots of rubbish and litter on the floor, and I do feel like people should be making a more conscious effort to make sure that the cities are clean and they're looking tidy, and just for the environment as well. So I feel like that's really important. And in England, I do notice that a little bit as well, but less than I noticed that here. And then moving on to the second one is actually prices in the supermarket. I mean, I feel like this balances out a bit because we've got the Deutschland ticket, which makes public transport so cheap, and in England public transport is so expensive. I'm telling you guys, public transport in England is so expensive, and here it's so cheap. But then here supermarket prices are definitely higher than in England, and also in England people buy a lot of reduced things. I buy a lot of reduced things from the reduced section in England. That doesn't really happen here. I do feel like a lot of food is getting thrown away to food waste, which I obviously don't think is so great as well. And then third and finally, my last thing, which is really sort of nitpicking. I'm sort of nitpicking now because things have been really good so far, but it's the rubbish system. I don't like the recycling system because you can only recycle plastics here, and then if you want to recycle glass and stuff, you have to go externally. That's not collected from your flat or your house, whereas in England you just lay the things out on the road and people come and pick it up. It just seems all a lot easier. Here it just seems a bit complicated. I mean, this is another thing that I could add to this little category of the bad and ugly, is a lot of kind of bureaucracy here. There's a lot of strict rules that people like to follow, and that can be difficult, especially with kind of the whole process of getting your visa as a student, or if you're working, it makes it a little bit more difficult. And I think that's the last thing I'm going to go on to, is about what you actually need to do when you get here about registering your residence. So let's get on to that now. Okay, so you've arrived in Germany, you've moved into your new flat. Everything is good, except you don't have your visa if you're a student. If you're working, you've got your visa, and you think everything's great. Well, no, there's one more thing you really need to do, and this is to go to the Einwohnermeldeamt, and you need to register, and I haven't actually done this yet. It's something that I will do because you have 3 months to register your residence or your location if you're moving from England to Germany for the first time. If you're moving across the EU, you need to do this within 1 week, so you need to be really careful at this, because otherwise people can, you know, obviously get a bit funny about this. But you need to go and register your new address and your location, and just so that the authorities know that you're in the country and living in the country. If you don't do this, it is obviously illegal and has some consequences. So it's really important. I just wanted to tell you guys this because that is probably one of the biggest pieces of information that you need to know if you're planning to move to Germany, and that's a real specific Germany thing about moving abroad. Okay guys, so that's kind of like my first little roundup of my whole moving abroad experience. I'm going to be doing regular updates about my journey moving abroad to another country and how it's all going, especially with the uni and everything. I want to keep you guys up to date, and I want to keep sharing tips with you guys to make your life easier when you go through this process as well, because to me it's all so new, so I really want to share this with all of you. So if you do have any questions, let me know in the comments below and I'll make another video. If you did like this, please leave a comment down below, please leave a like, and please leave a subscribe subscribe as well. I really look forward to having you on my channel and in my future videos for more moving abroad stories, moving abroad tips, travel tips and inspiration as well. So that's the conclusion of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye guys.